when we talk about the illusion of Maya, we're not saying that the world doesn't exist. We're just saying the importance of the world isn't anywhere as near as you think it is. So Maya doesn't mean that planet Earth doesn't exist. Like this room, like this body is solid, right? They exist. But the illusion is that I am somehow the most important part of this world. My life is of some real significance in this world. That I have some control over this world. That the things that I collect in this world are going to be something that is of real value. You know, how many times does Gurbani say that you spend your life collecting these things? Why don't you collect something that's actually of value? Naam. Naam is what? The realization is the awakening, the awakening from the sleep. The bringing yourself into a new line of thinking. So, yes, in a way, this whole world is not reality. Because Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji is like saying, Jag rachna sab chhoot hai, jaan le ho re meet. Like, know that this is all a dream. But within that dream, there is a way to be happy, or there is a way to suffer. It's almost as though if you accept the dream, in the sense that the dream is doing what it needs to do, then there's a way of navigating that dream and being happy with it. Or there's another way to deal with it, which is in line with Maya, that you say, none of this is actually real. It gives you the same thing. What I say is, this is reality, and you don't have any control. So what does that do? That detaches you from the world. Another way of saying that the world is not real at all. What does it do? It detaches you from the real. You say, this is all a lie. This is all fake. So they get you to the same place. Reality, hukam, gets you to the state of detachment. And Maya, and the realization of Maya also gets you to a state of detachment. And hopefully attached to something behind the Maya, behind the hukam, the real story. This is why there's so much limitation with language. That you're right, because I can say one thing, reality, you said, but how can Maya be reality? And in the same way, Gurbani also uses some words, and then in other places you can read Gurbani and saying, but that seems like it's contradicting itself. But Gurmat is never contradicting itself. It's just that it's explaining it in one way. Like I'm sure when you're sitting and listening to the Hukum Katha, you say, oh, that all makes sense. But then from the perspective of Maya, there's one person sitting there saying, but none of that makes sense because I see the world as Maya. So I say, okay, let's do a Katha on Maya then. It will still get you to the same place. This is a very important question actually, because it really strikes at the heart of how we have been taught to act in the Gurdwara. The idea that you can go to the Gurdwara and do an ardas and ask for anything is an idea that we've been missold. And the people who are misselling it are misselling it using Gurbani. They use shabads like Jo mange Thakur apne te soi soi deva. And so we're taught to believe you go and ask and you'll get. But I ask a very simple question. If everybody gets what they want, surely by now we would all be millionaires. Surely by now we would all be lottery winners. If everybody gets what they want. Why haven't we all won the lottery? Maybe your ardas is not as loud as somebody else's ardas. Is that how it works? I have a very simple analogy that I like to give. And maybe some of you would have heard this analogy. About the rain on the wedding day. So I'll give you the analogy. So there's a bride about to get married. And she's looking at the weather report and she's seeing The weather for the day is going to get married. Tomorrow she's going to get married. And she's doing ardas, Maharaj, it's my wedding tomorrow. Please don't let it rain. 1 mile down the road, there's a farmer. He's looking at the weather report and he said, it hasn't rained for a really long time. He's doing ardas, saying, Maharaj, please let it rain. Which one is God going to listen to? Is God going to listen to one person saying, don't let it rain? Or is going to listen to the other person at the same time and saying, let it rain? What should God do? Or is the rain going to rain when it's going to rain? Maybe the rain is not listening to either of your ardasas. When it's going to rain, it's going to rain. Now the next day comes and it rains. And the bride is so upset. It's my wedding day. It hasn't rained all of these days. Why have you done this today? Why have you done this to me? And 1 mile down the road, the farmer is celebrating and he's handing out laddus to everyone. It started to rain. Same rain, two very different perspectives. One says the rain is good, the other says the rain is bad. Now tell me, is the rain good or bad? It's neither. It's neither good or bad. So it really brings back this idea of this ardas. What is your ardas? What are you trying to do? Let me put it another way. How many times in life have things happened and you said, that was terrible. I really didn't want life to go that way. But a couple of years down the line, you've looked back and you said, now I understand why life went that way. If that didn't happen, I wouldn't be where I am today. I'll give you my own personal example. I failed all of my 18 sort of level, when I was in year 18, grade 11, grade 12, I don't know if you have that sort of grading system, but around the grade 12, before you go to university, I failed every single one of my exams. Badly. But at the time, it felt like the worst thing. What I was able to do with those exam grades, because they were so bad, is there was no chance of me getting into the top universities. Except the one university that I wanted to go had a program for people who had failed their exams badly. They can come and do an extra year. I got into exactly the university that I wanted to get into because of my failed exams. Had I passed my exams, I probably wouldn't have got enough grades to get to that university. I only got to that university on my bad grades. Because I went in, did an extra year. They said, okay, you've done one extra. It's like a retake. You got in. I did the retake at the university. Now that you've passed that year, now you go. I probably couldn't have got to that university had I passed my exams. Now, is it good or is it bad? Should the universe had listened to my first ardas, Maharaj, please let me pass my exams? Guruji saying, Bin bolya sab kich jaanda, kis aage kiche ardas. Who are you doing ardas to when the universe knows what you need without you even saying it? Bin bolya sab kich jaanda. It already knows without you saying. What is the purpose of your ardas? Now, let's look further into Gurbani. How many of you can give me quotes from Gurbani that says, if you're failing your exams, do an ardas. If your wife or your husband or your child is ill, do an ardas. If you want to buy a big house or a big car, do an ardas. What is the purpose of all Gurbani is that going into the Sharan of God doesn't mean I ask you and you listen to what I say. The Sharan means to go into your acceptance, to go into your flow. Remember, the primary teaching has been given, Hukam Razai Chalana. But it does not mean that you can ask for whatever you want whenever things are bad in life and that the universe will just deliver because you've asked. Because that to me sounds like a genie in a magic lamp. You just rub the magic lamp, you give your command, and the genie says, your wish is my command. We've almost done the same thing, except instead of a magic lamp, we have a magic pose. And we stand in a particular way, whether we're in the Gurdwara or not, we can just stand, look up there, and we want God to say, your wish is my command? It doesn't work like that. There is no God sitting up there with a shopping list waiting to say, like a waiter in a restaurant, Hanji dasso, what do you want? We've made God into a waiter. Yes, what can I do for you? How can I serve you? Is this what we need to be doing? So the Sharan of Waheguru is the awareness. Guru Granth Sahib Ji is only interested in one thing, is Naam, for you to elevate your thinking, to lift your thinking. That's what it means to go into the Sharan. If you're going into the Sharan of someone, then you're going humbly. You're not going with a shopping list and saying, these are the things I need. Where is the humility in saying, this is what I need? Now, let me contradict myself. There is Bani where the Bhagats, the Gurus are saying there's a minimum standard that I need. What's the Shabad like about Bhukhe Bhagat na hoi? Right. If I'm hungry, I can't do your bhakti. Right? So there's a bare minimum. But again, this isn't a, please can you help me? We even have examples of Bhagat Tanna Ji. He actually gives a shopping list. Yeah? Doesn't he? Dal sida mango ghiyo, hamra khushi kare nit jiyo. I want some dala. Yeah? Yeah? Ghar ki gihan changi. I need a nice wife in the house. So it isn't about asking. That's almost, I see that as almost a playful conversation, saying, Maharaj, this is the hukam. The hukam is such that I can't do your bhakti without these bare minimum. If I don't get food, yeah, dal, sida, mango, ghiyo. He's not just asking for the bare minimum. He's asking for a bit of ghee in there. Yeah? Yeah? Ek tajan, turi changeri, a nice strong horse. Yeah? We might say, I want a nice fast car. But all of that is based around Gopal Tera Arta. Yes, I'm doing your praise. Ultimately, I'm doing your praise. We don't do it that way. We just say, this is my shopping list. Thank you very much. The Bhagat Ji is going in with a different mentality. He's saying, Gopal Tera Arta. Why, Guru? This is your amazing play. And in this amazing play, if there's a little space for me to have a house, that would be nice. That's a slightly different thing. It's not saying, I will do 10 Japji Sahibs, or I will do an Akhand part if you give me this. He's saying, I'm going to do your bhakti. And how does he say? He says, Jo jan tumari bhagat karante tinke kaaj sawar. The ones who do your bhakti, they find out that life is okay. Their life gets resolved. The Bhagats are the ones that are getting what they want. But are we the Bhagats? Are we in that state that we've done enough bhakti that we can say, Waheguru, I'm doing lots of bhakti for you. It'd be nice if I have this. Are we doing enough? Can we categorize ourselves as a Pagat? That we can say, I'm your Pagat. And because I'm your Pagat, I can speak to you in a different way. That's how the Pagats are speaking. Even the Shabad that you've given, they're speaking to their master in a different way, saying, what kind of master are you? Yeah? What kind of master are you if you're not going to look after a Pagat? That's a different relationship. But we don't go into that kind of relationship. We just have a shopping list. You go to the magic door, you rub the magic lamp, you say what you want, and then you just go about your daily life. And when things get hard again, you come and ask again. That's a different relationship. But maybe Gurbani also gives us another thing. How many times do we hear about this thing? There's Ik Nanak ki Ardas. There's only one Ardas of Nanak, and that's always Naam. Naam is always the one Ardas. It's like Guruji has almost said that if you're going to ask for anything, ask for Naam. That's the only thing that you're allowed to ask for. Ask that I can remember you more. Not can I have a nice fast car, not can I pass my exams. Can I remember you more? That no matter what you do, I'm okay. I'm in a state of mental stability. That's what Naam means. That I'm in Sahaj. I'm calm, I'm peaceful, because I accept whatever you give me. See, otherwise if we don't understand these concepts, we think it's contradictory. One side we're saying you can ask for whatever you want. On the other side we're saying, Jo tera hukam tivetyo hona. Only what you do, that's all that's going to happen. So, Gurbani has to be understood in almost a priority order. And we've taken Naam, which is the top priority, and we've just forgotten about it. But we said, oh yeah, look, you can ask for whatever you want. I'll take that one. But actually, it doesn't work that way. You've got to do the Naam, you've got to do the Bhakti. You have to have the understanding. And then maybe you can ask for what you want, but we're not in that. We're not ready that we can ask for what we want. When Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying, Jo mange Thakur apne te soi soi dev hai, he's in a different place. Of Man Jite Jagjit, I can tell you how the world interprets that, which is, if you conquer your mind, you can conquer the world. Which means, and it's almost always used by people who are trying to convince you that you should be more successful in life. That if you are more motivated, if you are stronger-willed, if you overcome obstacles, man jite, then you can control the world. But I see that as a way of earning more maya, getting more maya, so they use these kind of quotes. But Gurbani doesn't want you to earn more maya. Gurbani wants you to have more naam. So then we have to interpret Man Jite Jagjit through the lens of naam. And there, I understand that, and this is only my interpretation, as the way that you perceive the world is as though it is just one huge battle. And it's a massive struggle. And somehow we have to just overcome all of these obstacles in life. Because you've perceived the world to be almost a big, huge obstacle that you have to somehow navigate through and you have to somehow overcome. That problem exists in the mind. If you change the way you look at the world, the entire world will change. If you change the way you look at the world, the entire world will change. If you change your mind's tendency to look at the world through the lens of homme, which is that I don't want this to happen and I want that to happen, you look at the world, we all do, through the lens of homme. And your mind has been trained to look at it that way. Gurbani, I use the example of programming. Our minds are like a corrupted piece of software. The software has gone bad. It's like a virus in the hard drive. Gurbani and Gurmat is the antivirus. It's a reprogramming of the mind. The Gurbani gives you a new way of thinking. It clears the old software, the bad way of thinking, and it puts a new software. An upgrade. Gurmat is the upgrade from Manmat. It's a newer version, a better version. It runs faster. It has more features. So Man Jeete Jagjeet is to upgrade the bad software. This is what's really interesting. The world programming us, we call that conditioning, is also hukam. It's not that God has given us one hukam and then the universe gives us another hukam. That's also hukam, that the society will condition you in a particular way. That's also hukam. So yes, you're born with a certain programming, infant programming, but then you're put into a scenario which will program you more. And that's society's influence. And then you become an adult and you realize, I don't know what's going on in life. But nothing seems to be happening the way I want it to. And then what does the world program you to do? It programs you to say, oh no, you're just not doing enough. Or you're not doing it right. Where you go to the Guru and the Guru says, oh, you're not thinking the right way. Change your thinking and you'll see the world is fine. But because you haven't changed your thinking, you're the old way of thinking, you think everything is wrong with the world and I have to go and fight and conquer the whole world. That's how we almost wake up every day and like today's another battle, like another struggle, another day that we have to conquer. So the daily battle is actually in here, is in your mind, right? That's the daily battle. So Gurbani also gives these ideas. And I keep doing this. I want to make sure that nobody can ever say, oh, that's a Dasambani, that's different. You know? Guruji is also saying that same thing. Guruji talks about fighting the battle with the Panch Chor. Yeah? Jin mil mare panch surbir aso kaun balire. Who is that warrior who can conquer the 5 warriors? He calls the Panch Chor, the 5 warriors. Who is that surma who can fight those? That's a daily battle. That's an easy battle that we're all having to face. You don't have to go looking for that one. That battle's already with you. Even in Islam, the idea of jihad is also an internal battle. Every day. It's not that you have to go and conquer everyone else. No, that's an internal. That's a beautiful lesson from that dharam we can learn. Yes, every day you have to fight this inner battle. As Sikhs, how can we behave in certain ways that seem to go against what the Guru is teaching? Because by saying that we are Sikhs doesn't make you a Sikh. We've got into the habit of thinking that being born into a family of Sikhs makes you a Sikh. Gurbani describes what a Sikh is in a lot of detail. Gurbani describes what a Gur-Sikh is in a lot of detail. So just by saying that we are Sikhs doesn't mean that the Guru is sitting there saying, yes, these are all my Sikhs. Maybe the Guru is sitting there and saying, none of these are my Sikhs, because I've defined what a Sikh is. So then what category do we fall under? We fall under the category of just being ordinary human beings. And as ordinary human beings, we've been programmed to act out of ego. And out of ego can we only be manipulative. Out of ego can we only act in greed, that we will do whatever it takes, even if it means the demise of somebody else. Out of ego, only can we deceit and lie and cheat. And out of ego, can we only pretend to everyone else, this is what I'm really like, but inside we know what we're really like. So just by being born into a Sikh family doesn't give you magical powers, doesn't give you a great ability all of a sudden to be able to act in a particular way. We're just human beings. And Gurbani is talking to human beings. and teaching human beings, this is your problem. So we've fallen into a trap of thinking we're Sikhs, we shouldn't behave in this way. We should realize we are human beings and the Guru teaches us how to be a human being. Guru teaches us what are the problems that come with being a human being, and it applies to everyone. And these problems are greed, lust, anger, desires, attachments, self-importance. These are prevalent amongst all human beings. And because we don't address these things in our day-to-day lives, we don't actually do anything about these things. We just turn up to the Gurdwara and we listen to Kirtan and Katha and then we go home. We don't actually deal with the fact that I have an ego. I need to do something about that. I have anger. I have desires. I have selfish thoughts. I have thoughts that make me think that I am better than somebody else. You know, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Mohankar, even those definitions need to be redefined. Not that they're incorrect in Gurbani, they're incorrect in our thinking. We just say the word Hankar, and we say pride. How many people in this room can say, I'm a Hankari person? You can't. Most people will say, well, that's somebody else. Other people have pride. I don't have pride. But so let's change the definition. What does pride mean? Pride means self-importance, or I'm right. Now how many people in the Sangat can say that they have those thoughts? I'm right and they're wrong. That's Hankar. And Guruji says that's what you need to deal with. I'm okay, you're wrong. See, if we say it's pride, you could say, oh, I don't have any pride. It doesn't apply to me. So all of that Gurmat, that's about how to deal with pride, we don't learn it. Do you see how much it changes just by changing the word? If we say Hankar means self-importance, or a feeling that I'm better than anyone else, or I'm right and you're wrong. We all have that. And Guru says, let's deal with that. That's not a good way to think, that you're right and everyone else is wrong. That is Hankar, isn't it? It's just a slight variation on the word. So we act out of these problems that we, in reality, don't face. In reality, we don't go to the Gurdwara, we don't go to the Gurmat class, and we say, okay, everyone, today we're going to talk about your self-importance. Let's learn about it. This is what it looks like. These are the symptoms, and these are the solutions. Go home, and your homework is to work on these solutions. We don't do that. Why don't we do that? Why aren't we actually really learning what the Guru is teaching us and saying, how does it apply to me? So what we do is we say, I'm a Sikh. A Sikh means I go to the Gurdwara and I do the Sikh things. So I do the matha take thing, I do the langar thing, I do the covering my head thing, I do the standing up thing, I do the sitting down and listening thing, I sing the kirtan and I read the prayers. So you've convinced yourself being a Sikh is doing these things. And the Guru is saying, no, being a Sikh is doing these things. You say, no, that doesn't apply to me. That's for the other people. I just need to do these things. So we've been convinced that being a Sikh is about doing things. And the Guru is saying, no, it's about fixing these things. So whose definition of a Sikh are you taking? Do you see how I'm stopping at the most fundamental part of your question, which is not why do we act the way we do. The most fundamental part of your question is, being Sikhs, why do we act that way? I'm saying, let's go to the Guru's definition of who is a Sikh, not the Sangat's definition of who is a Sikh, because the Sangat would tell you, oh yeah, you're a Sikh. Yeah, you've only done some of these. Okay, you're not as good as a Sikh as me, because I do 5 of these and you only do 4 of them. And you say, oh, I need to do that one as well. And the Guru standing here quietly saying, why is nobody looking at the list that I've given you? We're not doing that list. We're saying, Guruji, but I read your list every day. That's one of the things I need to do. It says, reads Guru's list. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Mohankar. Done. We even stand in front and do ardas. Guruji, save me from Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Mohankar. I've done another thing on that list. I did the ardas to save me from that list. But Guru's saying, no, I didn't just want you to read the list. You got to study it, you got to practice it, you got to teach yourself how to fix yourself, and then you got to help other people fix themselves. This is the definition of a Sikh. The list defined by the Guru. And how, if we were to say to a person, what do I need to do to be a Khalsa? You know what we would say? You need to grow your hair, you need to wear the Panch Kakar, you need to wake up at this time, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do that. And what does Guruji say is the definition of a Khalsa? Khalsa soe jo ninda tyage. Yeah? Khalsa soe jo panch ko maare. Khalsa soe jo kare nit jang. Look at Guru's list. And you're going to say that you're a Khalsa? Or somebody says you need to be a Khalsa. Oh, yep, I got the list here. Panch Kakar, wake up in the morning. So, what do you have? You have thousands and thousands of Khalsas following this list. And Guru's saying, who's following my list? And everybody's saying, oh, Guru Ale Bano, Amrit Chako, follow our list. What have we done? Whose list are we following? We are listening to everybody but the Guru. The Guru has given a definition of the Khalsa. And I'm not saying that the Khalsa doesn't include this stuff. I'm not saying that the Khalsa doesn't wake up in the morning and do Nityanem, doesn't have long hair, doesn't have the Panch Kakar. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the Guru has given you a deeper list, a more refined list, the more important list. And if we don't act in that way, of course the Khalsa are going to behave in the way, because they're not actually Khalsas. Of course Sikhs are going to behave in that way because they're not actually Sikhs. They're just humans pretending to be Khalsas. They're just humans pretending to be Sikhs because they're looking at the wrong list. So we have to go back to the Guru's original teaching. And this is why I always say, don't listen to everyone else. Only listen to the Guru. If you listen to someone and they say, go listen to the Guru, okay, fine, go listen to the Guru. But what we do is we say, that Guru stuff, that's in some ancient language, it's really hard to read. You know, today you really don't have an excuse. Guru Granth Sahib, where's Guru Granth Sahib? It's here on your phone, on your apps. What language? You want it in English? Done. You want it in Hindi? Done. You want it in Punjabi? Done. You want it in Spanish? Done. Now what's your excuse? So you're going to start just matha taking this? Or you're going to start reading it and actually doing it? We've been convinced that in order to be a Sikh, we just need to ask everyone else, oh, he's doing this, this and this, I better start doing that. There's very few people. This is why Guruji says, the real Sikh is virla. You're not going to find them in the thousands and the hundreds of thousands or the millions. There's just a few people actually doing that list. And Guru defines that list. Gur Satgur ka jo Sikh khaye, jo palke hut har naam tyaye. You say, oh yeah, I do that. I wake up in the morning, I read my Bani. No. Guruji says the minute that you wake up, naam starts going in your head. Yeah? That is what it means to be a Sikh. That the minute that you wake up, the second you wake up, naam starts. But we just say, no. You just get up, you have your shower, and you start reading. And you start reading your Nityanem, Waheguru Ji Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. And now I can go off and do my everyday thing. And the Guru is saying the Khalsa and the Sikh is one who's uthat, baitat, sovat, jagat, e man tujhe chitare. Every second, every minute, while they're standing, while they're eating, while they're brushing their teeth, while they're talking to someone, they're doing Naam Simran. That's the real Sikh, not just somebody who wakes up and looks like they're doing the Sikh things, and then they just convince themselves, I'm happy, I do all the Sikh things. Now I can go and tell all the other Sikhs how badly they're doing it. Because I've done everything on that list. Oh, you're not doing everything on that list. Not as good as me. What do we call that? Hankar. One of the top things on the list of not to do, we're walking around saying, I'm a better Sikh than you, because I'm doing more stuff on this list. And the Guru's saying, oh, just the very fact that you're saying that means you're not a Sikh. Because the Guru is the one that's defined the rules. So it's a very difficult thing, because what I'm basically saying to everyone in this room, you got to stop thinking that you're a Sikh. You got to go back to the bottom of the class. You know, in India, I spent my young childhood in India. If you did badly 1 year in school, you got kept behind and you did that whole year again. Right? Some of you nodding because you know what that experience was like. You got to do that whole year again, says teacher's going to put you back. We don't have that system anymore. But I'm saying to every single person, stop what you're doing, start again. Make your mind up that today, I'm not a Sikh. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not going to convince myself that I'm the top of the class. I'm going to convince myself that I know nothing. Then you start again. And it's disheartening, but in a way, you might feel encouraged as saying, finally, maybe I'm actually going in the right direction and following what I should be doing, which is what my Guru says, not what all the other people say who never read what the Guru said. The question is, if we are meant to get to Waheguru, then why are we put in a world with so many worldly distractions? Okay, if we're meant to be there, why were we put here? The simple answer I can give you is Waheguru is here. First, understand that. You're not meant to be somewhere else. You're meant to be here, and Waheguru is already here. So now the question is, if I'm already here, and Waheguru is already here, what do I need to do? Now what you need to do is change the way you perceive the world. Because you perceive the world, and I perceive the world, in a way that says, oh, look at all this nice stuff. I'd like some of that, and I want to get all this nice stuff. But all of this nice stuff isn't for you to take, because all of this nice stuff isn't going to go with you. And that's how we all live our lives. We just look at the world and say, I want more. The ones who've understood, they've just said, look at all this nice stuff. Wow, I bow down to you. They change the way they look at the world. They don't look at the world as though it's something to get. They look at the world as, wow, look at what's here. It's amazing. So what you have to do, you don't have to get to Waheguru. Forget that guy. Yeah? Because your idea of what is Waheguru is a Christian idea of God, which is an old man with a white beard sitting in the clouds. And when I say you, I mean all of us. Yeah? I'm not singling you out. You start by saying that if we're meant to get to Waheguru, which means if I'm here and Waheguru's over there, why am I here and why are you over there? I'm saying there's no Waheguru over there, there's Waheguru over here. And the only thing that you have to realize is that you aren't here and Waheguru isn't there. Waheguru is here and this is also Waheguru. So the only thing you have to do is change your thinking, and the whole of Guru Granth Sahib helps you to change your thinking that says, oh, I don't have to go anywhere, I have to realize it's already here. Now the why is almost a question that can't be answered. Why are we in this situation that the world is in such a way, that we are programmed in such a way? The Gurus start by straight away saying, if you ask why, there's no real answer to that why. Yeah? Hukmi hovan akar, hukam na kahiya jaye. The world has been created according to how it's going to be created, but you can't explain why. Hukam na kahiya jaye. You can't explain why. It just is. And the Gurus didn't try to give a definition of why is the world like this. Because let's say I give you an answer and say why the world is like this. I say, okay, God woke up one day and he decided that it was going to be like this because he was feeling like this. Let's say that's the answer, yeah? That there is a reason why the world is the way it is and why we have to get back to God in that way. What are you going to do with that answer? You can't do anything. Because you're still here, you still have to deal with the same thing. Now you just have an answer that says, oh, I know why, but I'm still here. It's like If you're at the bottom of a well, what do you need? Do you need somebody to send you a piece of paper that says, oh yeah, I know I'm at the bottom of the well. Now I know why. Why are you at the bottom of the well? Because I fell down. Now I know the answer why. Is that what you need? Or do you need a ladder that helps you get out? Don't worry about the why. Don't worry about the piece of paper that tells you why you're at the bottom of the well. You shouldn't be asking for that. You should be asking for, how do I get out? Not why am I in this world and why is the world in this way? It's the question is, okay, you're in, and now somebody else has come down the bottom of the well and they're called the Guru. And they say, hey, don't worry about the why. Let me explain to you your inner well. And let me show you the way out. I've got a secret way out. You know, because other people around the well, they don't even know that they're in the well. They don't even know. They're just saying, this part of the well, that's mine. And somebody says, that's not yours, that's mine. They're fighting over which part of the well they want to be in. And the Guru is so kind. The Guru doesn't stay up there. The Guru comes down the well, and he says, guys, you're at the bottom of the well. This is not important. I've got a way out. He said, no, we don't need to listen to you. I just want to have a nice big part of the well. And they're all, do you see? This is how we're working. We're all stuck in this world. And nobody's actually asking, what do I do about it? Everyone's saying, no, I want this and I want that, and you want this and you want that. And the Guru's coming along and saying, guys, I've got a way out of this problem. He said, no, we quite like it here. We've been here for a long time. We're comfortable. So there is really no answer to why the universe is like that, but there is a way out. Now the question is, do you want the way out? That's the question you should be asking. Do I want a way out? The awareness is never different from the world. Because awareness is just a different dimension of the world. It's like I see it as layers of an onion. And the inside of the onion, being that awareness, is not actually different to the outside of the onion. It's just different layers of it. And if you function at the superficial layer, you're just going to function on the world, but you'll have no idea of the awareness. But the start of the universe is from the awareness. The awareness is what has created the universe. So it's never two separate things. It's actually a spectrum of all the same thing. So for me, oneness is pure awareness and everything else is not awareness. Because this is what the Gurus have clarified, and I appreciate your question, because this is an existing idea that existed around the time of the Gurus, which is that the God or the awareness was always formless. And Guru comes along and says, your definition of God is only half right. Guru comes along and says, form and formless is all part of the God. Sargun and Nirgun is part of God. God is never just that. God is not the creator and the world being something separate. God is the world because the universe manifested itself into form. Awareness, from its nothingness, manifested itself into somethingness. But that somethingness is the awareness manifest. The myself is the biggest delusion in all of that. When we realize that there is no myself, which is home, which is the word that we use for myself. Home, me, myself. Myself is the illusion. That in somewhere within this entire spectrum of this, let's use the onion analogy. Onion starts from a seed, almost from nothing, and then it grows and it grows and it grows and it forms a whole onion. And then out of it sprouts, and maybe there's like one leaf or one flower at the top. And the flower says, I am a flower. The rest of the onion is saying, no, you're part of the onion. But the flower is saying, no, I'm a flower. I have nothing to do with the onion. Or there's another flower that says, I must realize where the onion is. I have to find where the onion is. And it goes on a spiritual journey to find the onion. When it doesn't understand, It is from the onion. It is the onion. And we go on a spiritual journey to find ourselves, only to realize that we were always part of the oneness. It's all here. It's just a shift in perception. So you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to do anything. The flower doesn't have to do anything. It just has to realize it isn't an individual flower existing independently of everything else. The very fact that it is there is categoric proof that it has come from somewhere. So you just got to look around and says, oh, what's that onion doing there? Oh, just like ignore that. That's what most of us do. We say, oh yeah, you don't need to look at that. And that's what we do. We ignore awareness and we live in our delusion that we are separate from everything. But when we realize, oh, this is all connected, it's all part of the same thing, then the flower doesn't have to do anything. It's just no longer labeling itself as a flower. Then when it's realized, it says, who are you? I am onion. He doesn't have to find anything. And in the same spiritual journey, you don't have to find yourself. You have to realize that yourself never existed. The only thing that exists is the big. So let me put that in a very simple way, because onions and flowers is a very confusing analogy. You exist. Let's just look at that as an idea. What are you? What is the constituents of you? You might say, I'm made up of three things: mind, body, and spirit. Okay? Let's put the spirit aside because none of us know what our spirit is. Let's just look at the body. Where does your body come from? Your body comes from mother and father. Yeah? You and mother and father. Where does their bodies come from? Mother, father, mother, father. And where do their bodies come from? The same lineage. It just continues, the same system. So what are you? Are you anything except just a combination of mother and father? And your child is also nothing but a combination of mother and father. Like, so what is this body? It's nothing. It's nothing to do with you. It's to do with those two. And in fact, it's nothing to do with those two because they're to do with all of those before them. So this, you say, I exist. How do you know you exist? Look, because I'm here. But you had nothing to do with this. It's just a part of a oneness, a big chain. The chain is probably a lot simpler of an analogy. If one part of the chain believes that it's independent, is it really independent? Or is it just deluding itself? It's part of the chain, it just can't see that it's part of the chain. So the Guru's role is to just make you realize that you don't exist. You're not special, you're not an individual. There is nothing here except the combination of mother and father sitting in front of me.
Something inside here, I want to ask a question. I have a thought.
Yes.
And then I ask the question.
Excellent. Who's asking the thought? The mind?
It's inside.
Okay, so there's a thought going on. A question comes up, yeah? A question comes. Now I'll ask you something. Have you asked the question or has the mind asked the question?
It just comes up.
But who's the creator of that thought? You or the mind?
It's not me.
It's not you, is it? So, until now, you may be thinking, that is my thought. My thought. Let me give you an experiment. It'll really help. Yeah? All of us, sit up. And just for 30 seconds, just close your eyes. Don't start doing Naam Simran, please. Don't start doing Waheguru Jap in your head. That's not what I want you to do. Just sit, close your eyes, and become aware of what thoughts enter your mind Don't think about anything in particular. Don't get carried away with any thought. Just make a note of the thoughts that come into your mind. Take a deep breath in and out, and open your eyes. What did you guys think about? Anything? What came into your mind?
Well, at first I just, like when you said 30 seconds, I started to count. So
Oh, okay.
I can't like stop processing, it's like, it's tough to think of nothing.
Sure. Oh, I didn't say think of nothing. I said whatever comes into your mind, make a note of it. Okay, so like a countdown started happening in your mind. Fine. What else came into your mind?
It was about someone.
About someone. A person came into your mind. Fine. A person came into your mind. A clock countdown came into your mind. Who else? What else did you think about? Hanji.
I thought of you. How can we keep you in San Jose?
Okay. Thought of me. That's a lovely thought.
I thought of food, what I'm going to eat after.
Food came into your mind. A person came into your mind. A clock came into your mind. I came into your mind.
I was just thinking about the Japji Sahib, Jor Namangan Dena Jor.
Okay. So some Barney came into your
Yeah,
mind.
it is.
So in this room, Barney came into your mind, person came into your mind, clock came into your mind, I came into your mind, food came into your mind. Now, can you, hand on heart, say that you are the originator of that thought? Or did that thought just come? It came. So can you, hand on heart, say that I am the creator of my thoughts? No. In a 30-second demonstration, and this is a very deep subject we're covering here, and I do entire lectures on just this subject, like the mind and the originator of thought. This is a demonstrator that your mind is thinking. There is a thinking machine that is just thinking and just, it's like fireworks, just thoughts are going off. Yeah? And so far, we've been deluded that I am the creator of these fireworks. Thoughts. I am the creator of these thoughts. One of those thoughts which you've never actually dealt with, which is just I. Where does I exist?
Ego.
Well, where does ego exist?
And then
It's a concept. It's another thought. The I created that firework. Where does that exist? Does that exist here in your hand? Does that exist in your heart? If you say, I created that thought, that's mine, where does that come from? That's also another firework. You think, okay, here's another one. This is my body. Where's that thought happening? That's also happening in the mind. This is me. That's also in the mind. I exist. That's also in the mind. That's also another thought. So where is you?
I am like the background.
You're not in the background.
You're the witness.
That's a completely different thing. There is awareness. Now this is getting even more complicated, and I'm going into very deep spirituality here. Yeah? So there is body. Agreed? There are these fireworks of thoughts, and one of those thoughts is, I like to do this is me, this is mine. Now, there is a listener to those thoughts. When you say, this is mine, who's listening to that thought, that voice in your head? You'll say, I know who's listening, me. No, it's never me. And this is the whole purpose of meditation, is that in meditation you can have a very clear distinction between body, thoughts, and the observer of thoughts. The observer of thoughts, which is called consciousness, witness, observer, listener, that is everywhere. It's in every space. The observer, the listener of thoughts. And now when you start looking in Gurbani, there's Gurbani that says, Katata Bakata Sunata Soi. the one who is speaking, Katta Bhakta, and the one is listening is that one. This is a very deep concept. And your mind will say, I don't get it. Good, because this is something, I'm talking about something that is behind the mind. The mind cannot look in this direction. Only in meditation and dhyan, Zen, Nam, Sunyata, whatever word you want to use from whichever tradition, can you find that which is present, not the mind, not the body. That you have also labeled, that's me as well. That's not you. It's beyond the body, it's beyond the mind. It is the next stage. Chautha Pad is the fourth level. It's not the mind, it's not the external environment, it's not the body, it's the next one. And these concepts cannot be understood by your mind. They cannot be logically understood. This is why a practice is necessary, a meditation is necessary, that you can experience the awareness that is sitting behind the mind.
And is that awareness myself?
There is no myself. That awareness is the oneness. That awareness is the creator of matter. That is the formless that is behind the form.
So I cannot find me?
No, you can lose you. Your only job is to lose you. Or to find the real me. You can't find me, the mind, or me, the body. But you can find the awareness, and you look at the awareness, and when you find the awareness, you say, that's more than me. That's the big me. That's not the little me. Yeah, this is little me, mind and body, me, my thoughts, me. The big me is the one that's everywhere and in everything, and it's also here. This is what it means when you say Waheguru is inside you. Everyone thinks, oh, Waheguru's inside me, like it's like a little puppy that's sitting inside me. It's all cute and nice and fluffy and it's all good. It's not. It's a very deep concept. It's the consciousness that's behind the mind. Atma. It's a different word to soul. It doesn't mean soul, it means the awareness. Isn't it shocking that as Sikhs we don't talk about this stuff? What on earth are we talking about then? What on earth do we spend all of our time debating? Meet khana ke nahi khana, ragmala padna, dasam bani. What are you discussing? That thing which is essential to you, which is right here and ready, waiting for you to find it, that nobody's talking about. I've been going to camps for more than 15 years. I just came from a camp in LA on the weekend. And there's always a part at the end where we sit at the front and we say, you just ask any questions you want. Not once has a question ever been written, how do I find God? At a Sikh camp, not once has a Sikh ever asked the question, how do I merge with the oneness? You know what sort of questions we get asked? Why were there no women guru? Why do men walk in front of women in the Lama? Can an Amritari marry a non-Amritari? And I always reply, I say, you might as well ask me if you should wear green socks or pink socks, because that's how irrelevant these questions are. If you're going to find the oneness, does the color of your socks matter? Doesn't make a difference. So why are you asking me just such insignificant questions? But because we don't understand what is the significance that we're looking for, we're arguing amongst ourselves, no, yeah, you're supposed to wear pink socks. Someone says, no, that's not a color, you wear blue socks. What are we talking about? Why is nobody saying that the purpose of a Sikh is to get back to the oneness, and let us actually talk about how to do it. Oh yeah, how to do it, yeah. Naam japo, Bani padho, Simran karo, Amrit shako. You see those lists? And so you sit there and saying, I'm doing Naam Simran, and you convince yourself I'm doing Naam Simran. But you have to understand the context. Naam japo is not the wrong lesson, it's completely the right lesson. Bani padho is completely the right lesson. But khojo to sahi. You have to analyze it, you have to digest it, you have to do vichar on it, you have to sit there and say, what does that mean? What does home mean? We have to set up classrooms like this. And as we're starting to wrap this session up, I will do a benti to all of your feet. Please set up a class like this once a week, once a month, where all of these people get together and you carry on these questions and answers. Otherwise, you keep coming and you keep doing account parts, and you keep listening to the Guru, and the Guru keeps saying the same thing, but nobody's actually sitting and saying, what do we do? How do we do it? How do we move forward? So that's the reason why this organization exists. I was in Canada twice last year, and after those 2 meetings, we set up 3 groups which do exactly this. They sit together and they start. One's in Toronto, Pai Sahib's just started to run. One's in Hamilton, one's in Calgary. Hopefully I'm going to Vancouver later this year. Hopefully we'll start another one. Wherever I go, I tell people, please set up groups where you just get together and you start helping each other doing vichar. I don't need to be here. Yeah, gosht, conversation, talk. The reason I'm aware that to some extent I'm instigating this. I'm aware of that. But I can't be everywhere because I know that that's a question. But the internet today has allowed me to come here and sit. Because I sit 5,000 miles away in my room and I create a video and all of a sudden it's on your phone. So the purpose of these groups is now that I can sit somewhere else, post a video, you can come back and say, let's watch this and let's now sit and discuss. So we created a video series covering the whole of Japji Sahib from this perspective. What is Ik? What is Onkar? What is Sat? What is Naam? What is Hukam? What is Pavan Guru? What are the Khands? So the whole thing has been covered. You can create a group and say, okay, guys, homework for this week, go and watch the first video. Then we come in and we just do vichar. Okay, he said oneness. What does it mean? How do we do the oneness? Next week, some more questions will come. This vichar is the point at which you can start growing as a community. And you can start learning as a community.